The house had finally gone quiet. Maxi lay beneath the blankets with one arm curled under a pillow. Beside her, Lucy occupied the other pillow as if it had been placed there by royal decree. Lucy did not sleep at the foot of the bed like a sensible dog. Her broad Rottweiler head rested against the pillowcase, one ear folded inside out, her lips puffing gently with every breath. Then Lucy kicked her. Maxi opened one eye. A few seconds later, Lucy's back paw jerked again. Her nose twitched. Her front paws paddled at the air. She was running somewhere. "Where are you going?" Maxi whispered. Lucy gave a tiny sleeping woof. Her paws moved faster, and one solid leg caught Maxi in the ribs. "Lucy!" Maxi reached out and placed a hand against Lucy's warm shoulder. And the room tilted. The blankets lifted like a dark sail. The pillow dropped away, and Maxi tumbled through a whirl of pink ribbons, silver bells, glittering shop windows, and voices calling from every direction. You could be younger. You could be smaller. You could finally become enough. Maxi landed on a carpet the color of strawberry icing. She had arrived in an enormous palace filled with counters, mirrors, velvet ropes, and shining displays. Golden letters arched above the entrance. The Grand Palace of Better. Beneath them was the palace promise. Why remain yourself when you could be improved? People hurried from counter to counter, carrying lists titled Things to Correct. Some lists were short, but most dragged along the floor. At yesterday's repair, an attendant offered regret remover to people who still remembered foolish things they had said years before. At tomorrow protection, a nervous man tried on a helmet designed for failures, embarrassments, and disasters that had not yet happened. Everywhere Maxi looked, the palace offered a solution. There were creams to erase the evidence of laughter, powders to hide tiredness, belts to make bodies smaller, and shoes that made people taller but unable to walk comfortably. Tiny bottles promised courage, popularity, youth, obedience, silence, and the perfect amount of mysterious sadness. A mother held a jar of better mother balm. A young girl rubbed cream over her freckles, and an old man hid his trembling hands. A boy with an enormous laugh was being taught to make it quieter. And nobody looked happy. They looked busy measuring, comparing, and correcting themselves into projects that might never be finished. Then a bell rang, the lights dimmed, and a thin man in a silver suit stepped onto a stage. Ladies, gentlemen, and unfinished persons, prepare for the most delicate, graceful, and weightless symbol of perfection ever to bless this palace. Behold, the sugar plum fairy. The curtains flew open and the stage shook. Lucy bounded through, wearing a vast pink tutu, a crooked crystal tiara, and 4 tiny golden ballet slippers that had no hope of containing her paws. She landed so enthusiastically that 3 decorative stars fell from the ceiling. Maxi stared. Lucy lifted her chin and pranced. It was the prance of a dog who knew she looked magnificent and expected the world to adjust accordingly. One slipper flew off and struck the announcer on the shoulder. Lucy didn't even notice. She saw Maxi and beamed. "Maxi, you came." "Lucy, are you the sugar plum fairy?" Lucy looked down at her broad chest, round belly, and bouncing pink towel. "Sugar plum fairy," she corrected. "There is more of me." People stared as Lucy leapt from the stage. "Fairies are supposed to be light," a woman whispered. Lucy stopped. "I am light. I carry it everywhere." An attendant hurried after her. "That costume does not flatter your shape." Lucy glanced at her tutu. "My shape is already flattered. It came with me." Another raised the measuring tape. "You're much too large for approved fairy proportions." "Then it is lucky they made me so much tutu." Maxi laughed. Lucy heard it and pranced higher. She did not wonder whether anyone laughed with her or at her. She did not compare herself to the painted fairies on the ceiling. She was wearing a tutu, Maxi was there, and music was playing. This was an excellent moment. At the far end of the palace, enormous doors opened. A warm, savoury scent rolled through the hall. Lucy froze and her nose lifted. "Gravy," she whispered. Before Maxi could catch the tutu, Lucy launched herself through the doors. Inside a grand banquet chamber stood the most glorious thing she had ever seen, a towering fondue fountain of endless gravy. Warm brown gravy flowed over shining tiers into a silver basin. Around it waited biscuit stars, roast bites, dumplings, potatoes and elegant pastries shaped like swans. A velvet rope surrounded the display with a sign that read, "The Controlled Pleasure Exhibit. Look, desire, resist." Lucy gazed at it with sacred wonder. A god blocked her path. This exhibit is not for eating. Then why is it gravy? It represents temptation. Visitors admire their restraint. Lucy looked at the fountain, the bowls, and then at Maxi. Then she ducked under the rope, dipped a biscuit into the flowing gravy, and ate it. The chamber fell silent. For one perfect second, nothing existed except a warmth, flavor, and joy. No yesterday, no tomorrow, no audience, only gravy. Lucy opened her eyes. "This is excellent." A woman clashed a correction list. "What if you regret it tomorrow?" Lucy dipped a potato. "Tomorrow does not have this potato, but I do." "What about what you ate yesterday?" "Yesterday's gravy is gone." Lucy licked a drop from her nose. "The gravy is warm now." A slow clap echoed through the chamber. The crowd parted for a tall woman in a gown made of mirrors. Each mirror showed a different improvement: younger, thinner, richer, smoother, and quieter. "I am Madame Moore," she said, "founder of the Grand Palace of Better. We help people become worthy of their lives they desire." She circled Lucy. Strong frame, heavy landing, visible appetite, uncontrolled enthusiasm, complete absence of social anxiety. A very difficult case. An assistant presented a silver belt. "The Featherlight Fairy Clincher will reduce your presence by 40%. Lucy backed away. "Why?" "So you take up less room." "But I'm using the room." Another assistant offered good girl drops to reduce barking, opinion, appetite, and refusal. Lucy sniffed the bottle and sneezed on Madame Moore's gown. A third held out future fear crystals. "1 spoon before bed and you can prepare for every possible disaster." "But I spend the night chasing things." "Things that may happen?" "No, things happening now." Madame Moore's smile tightened. "How would we sell you protection from the future?" Lucy sat down, the tutu spreading around her like a pink flower. "You could give me another biscuit." A few people laughed. Then Madame Moore noticed Maxi. Her mirrored gown flashed. In one mirror, Maxi saw herself younger. In another, she was admired by a crowd. In another, every unfinished dream had always been completed. Madame Moore's voice softened. "Ah," she said, "you understand that you could have been more by now." Lucy sniffed the coat. "It smells like strangers." She sniffed the necklace. "That smells old." She looked at the mask. "That does not look like your face." "Perhaps my face is not enough." Lucy carefully removed the tiara and placed it on top of Maxi's mask. "But Maxi," she said, "you are already here." One mirror flickered. "What if I'm behind?" Maxi asked. "Behind what?" "Where I should be." Lucy looked around for another Maxi standing ahead of them. "There is only here." "What if yesterday proves I made mistakes?" "Yesterday smells old." "What if tomorrow goes wrong?" Lucy leaned against her leg. "Tomorrow has not opened the door yet." Maxi lowered the mask. "How do you not worry what everyone thinks?" Lucy considered this seriously. "I care whether you are here. I care whether the door opens, and I care whether there is chicken. I care that someone is sad or frightened." She leaned closer. but I do not know how to become someone else. I only know how to be me." A crack appeared in the largest mirror. Madame Moore stepped forward. "Do you know what would happen if everyone thought like that? People would stop buying permission to exist. They would rest before they collapsed, grow older in public, laugh too loudly, and begin again without punishing themselves first." The gown flashed wildly. If people forgive yesterday, who buys regret remover? If they trust tomorrow, who buys future fear crystals? If they stop comparing their bodies, who buys the fairy kinshasa? If they believe they are worthy before they improve, what becomes of my palace? People gathered at the gallery entrance, still carrying their correction lists. "The palace gives them hope," Madame Moore said. "No," Maxi replied. "It keeps moving hope one purchase further away." "What would you offer instead? No growth, no discipline?" Maxi removed the heavy coat. "There's a difference between caring for yourself because you love yourself and trying to fix yourself because you have been taught not to." She unclasped the necklace. "Love can ask us to heal, learn, rest, nourish our bodies, apologize, and make wiser choices. But shame never finishes its work. It always finds one more thing to correct." Madame Moore looked into the cracked mirror. For the first time, it showed no perfected reflection. It showed a little girl in pinching shoes, while unseen voices told her to be prettier, quieter, cleverer, easier, smaller, more. "They said it was for my own good," she whispered. "Perhaps they believed that," Maxi said. "I built all of this so nobody would be rejected." "But nobody can reach the end of more." Lucy pressed her broad head against Madame Moore's mirrored gown, then licked her hand. A surprised laugh escaped the woman. It was not elegant or controlled, but it was real. Every mirror in the gallery cracked at once. The sound rolled through the palace like thunder. Instead of falling, the mirrors opened into windows. Through them came sunlight, wind, birdsong, untidy gardens, wrinkled hands, muddy dogs, unfinished paintings, and ordinary people living without posing for anyone. Advertisements started peeling from the walls. "Become irresistible" became "come as you are." "Erase your age" became "care for the skin that carried you here." "Control your appetite" became "listen to your body." "Never fail again" became "learn, repair, and try once more." The mother discovered that Better Mother Balm was ordinary moisturizer. She rubbed it into her tired hands because they deserved kindness, not because they had failed. The girl wiped the cream from her freckles. The old man stopped hiding his trembling hands. The boy laughed, enormous and bright, and nobody asked him to make it smaller. From the banquet chamber came the fragrant cascade of the gravy fountain. Lucy heard it, and her ears lifted. "Dance?" Maxi asked. Lucy exploded into motion. She galloped into the chamber, tutu flying. Maxi ran after her. The music began, but no one counted the steps. Lucy spun into a velvet chair and pretended it was part of the dance. Maxi danced beside her, not gracefully or carefully, but with her own face uncovered. One by one, the people started joining them. The old man danced with trembling hands raised. The mother kicked off painful shoes. The girl wore the fairy kinshasa as a sash, and the boy laughed through every wrong step. Even Madame Moore loosened her mirrored gown. Beneath it she wore a simple dress, soft enough to breathe in. Lucy climbed beside the fountain. "I am the sugar plump fairy." The crowd cheered. "What are your powers?" someone called. "I can sleep anywhere. I can hear cheese being opened from far away." The cheering grew louder. "And I can make now important." The room quietened. Lucy lowered her biscuit scepter. "Now is where the warm gravy is." It sounded foolish enough to make people smile, and true enough to change a kingdom. Madame Moore looked around. What will become of this palace? It can become a place of care, Maxi said. Support without shame, food that nourishes, clothes that fit bodies instead of pushing them, rest without guilt, and help without humiliation. And if people still want to change, let them change from love, not because they must earn the right to be seen. Lucy dipped another biscuit. Also, keep the fountain. She laughed. The fountain stays, Madame Moore agreed. The palace lights softened and the windows filled with stars. People folded their correction list into paper birds and released them into the night. Maxi sat beside the gravy fountain and Lucy settled next to her, the tutu spreading across them both. You look beautiful, Maxi said. Lucy yawned. I know. Did you ever think the tutu might not suit you? No, not even for a second. I liked it. That was the whole answer. Maxi stroked the thick fur around Lucy's neck. The world is very good at telling us what we should be. The world talks a lot. It tells us what to buy, fear, hide, and regret. Lucy licked gravy from her biscuit scepter. Does the world know you? Not all of it. Then why does all of it get to choose? The stars began to turn like little lights on deep water. Somewhere far away, Maxi heard the clock beside her bed. Madame Moore waved from beneath a new sign. The House of Enough. Care for what is alive. Lucy turned 3 circles on the carpet and lay down. How do we get home? Maxi asked. We sleep. We are already asleep. Then we sleep some more. Lucy closed her eyes and began to snore. The fountain flowed more softly and the palace drifted away. Maxi felt Lucy's paw before she even opened her eyes. It lay across her neck like a warm, furry bar. Lucy was still asleep beside her, head on the pillow, lips twitching. Her back paws gave 2 small kicks beneath the blanket. Maxi tried to move. Lucy's paw tightened. Lucy, Maxi whispered. Without waking, Lucy turned her muzzle towards her and gave Maxi one slow, enormous lick across the nose. Maxi spluttered. Lucy sighed happily and carried on dreaming. Her tail thumped once beneath the blanket. Perhaps she was still dancing. Perhaps the gravy was still warm. Maxi lay pinned beneath the paw of the sugar plump fairy and began to laugh. Later, when morning came, she opened a journal and wrote, The world will always try to sell us a better version of ourselves. Love does not ask us to remain wounded, afraid, or unchanged. Love helps us heal, because what is alive in us is precious. But shame asks us to change, so that we may finally deserve a place in the room. We may grow, we may learn, we may care for our bodies, repair our mistakes, and reach towards new dreams. But we do not have to disappear before we are worthy. We are already here. And sometimes, the wisest soul in the room is wearing a crooked tiara, taking up all the pillow, and dreaming beside an endless fountain of gravy.